Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily Flange with Intoxicus Flanging. My name's Graham, and as always, I hope you all remember to bring a towel. And today I hope you remember to bring your controversy towels because it is going to be controversial. But it will also be spoiler-free, so you don't need to remember your spoiler towels. So, the spoiler towels, you'll need those for the extra flange coming out later today that I'm going to record after this episode. That's where we're really going to get into the meat and depth of everything, but it's going to be full of spoilers, and I don't want to have a spoiler-full daily flange because that just doesn't make sense to me. So we're going to more try and focus on the controversy and more like what people are doing and the petition and that kind of stuff, and any references to the story and reasons, specific reasons why people are upset. We're going to keep all that super duper extra vague and just so we don't spoil anything for anyone. And we're going to keep this short. It's kind of tricky to try and talk about something that really deserves and requires in-depth discussion while staying spoiler free, which kind of prevents going in depth and all that. So this is kind of, if anything, kind of a preview and a hook for the extra flange where we're really going to get into this. So yeah, I guess to start off with, I haven't yet finished The Last of Us 2. I got a decent way in so far. I've only just got to day 2. That won't mean anything if you haven't played, but if you've played, that'll give you a good idea. Like in between day 1 and day 2 flashback, I wound up not finishing that, and I got to finish that flashback, which is very cool and interesting flashback I can't talk about. But yeah, so I just gotta say I haven't finished the game, so this is still somewhat preliminary. But the big significant event that I believe is the real true reason, core reason for the controversy happens early enough in the game that you only got to play like the first 3-4 hours or so to know what I'm talking about. And then from there, it gets really interesting, actually. Like, I also do have to say, I'm not mad at the game. I'm enjoying the game. I actually quite like it, aside from like the big thing in the story they fucked up. But it's like it's something, they definitely fucked up, but it's a forgivable fuck up. Like, as much as it's something that's a bit of a pet peeve of mine and just the whole meta of storytelling, I can't really get into too much detail. But even though it's a personal pet peeve of mine, kind of how they went about that certain thing, it's still not so much I find it like unforgivable or it makes me angry or anything. And there's an extreme on both sides of this, where there's like one extreme where it's like, oh, if you love the game and you enjoy it, oh, you're stupid and you have no idea what you're talking about, blah blah blah. Fuck that extreme. Then there's this other extreme where I have a brain fart and I forget what I was fucking talking about. God damn it. Oh man. My brain. I'm not even smoking weed. I'm taking a break from weed and my brain's still doing it. um anyways, fuck. What was the other fucking extreme? So we got the people that hate you if you like it. Yeah, then we got the people that hate you if you don't like it. And they're like, "Oh, if you're criticizing the game, you're just a piece of shit. You don't know what you're talking about." It's like both extremes can fuck off. There's no need to go to either extreme. It's not that crazy, but it's 2020, it's emotional thinking kind of times and that kind of stuff, so it's frustrating to me, but I do get it. Anyway, so yeah, there's this petition going on for a full remake. It's not realistic. Like, I kind of get it, but it's just not a realistic thought. If you objectively break down, just not even including the rest of the game, just in the first portion where a certain event happens, to rewrite that would just be too much. You'd have to remake the whole freaking game. Oh, there is a way they could just maybe add a couple more hours in, but then, like, any way you slice it, you gotta bring back your animation team, voice actors, programmers, etc., etc., etc. You gotta pretty much bring your whole fucking team back and remake the game, which is going to cost the same amount that they spent to make the game in the fucking first place, or probably a good portion of that. It's not financially feasible. When it comes to the integrity of the piece of art, I think it's no choice. But there's more factors than that. So, and they're a business. This is capitalism. Profits come first. The integrity of the art is second to profits. They're not going to. It's going to cost them too much money. It's going to be impractical. I would be shocked if they significantly rewrite the story and remake the game in any capacity. I don't think they're. It's just, it doesn't seem, in a business context, it's an illogical. In a purely integrity of the art context, it's the only decision. And that's a fucked up dichotomy. But that's kind of how I see it, where from the perspective of integrity of the art that they produced, there is no other choice than you need to correct your mistakes, which were, there definitely was mistakes made. But from a business perspective, making that correction is cost ineffective, massively cost ineffective. It makes no sense from a business perspective. They will not gain more profits from doing that, or at least not significant enough profits to offset the expenditure. Like, unless everyone they'd have to resell the game for it to make sense, and that ain't happening. So maybe they could do it as like part of DLC and have kind of an expensive DLC that also re-flanges a certain section of the story. But I don't see that happening. So, there are possibilities, maybe, but I see that as very low percent. But I understand the emotions behind that. Like, I understand it. I'd really love it if the story were set up better, and if they had just done better and not fallen into the trap of just kind of doing the same tropish cliche that's been a problem for the past at least decade, in my opinion, when it comes to just storytelling in movies and TV. So to touch on that, in movies and TV, there's become this thing in the meta of storytelling where people go overboard with dramatic craziness. And I have to try and do my best to stay vague here, but they'll just do crazy things for the sake of doing crazy things with this thought, oh, we're going to manipulate the audience into, emotional feels, and we'll set up strong character motivations and all that kind of stuff. And yes, Battlestar Galactica did a pretty damn good job of that, not only doing it, but setting up a new meta for storytelling and how they did it. And it's helped create a lot of amazing, awesome fiction. Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, Castlevania TV series, Brain, Better Call Saul. But all those ones I mentioned, yeah, they do crazy dramatic shit, but they do it properly with purpose and intent, and they know what they're doing, and they don't disrespect the character or the story or their audience. And that, I think, is the core problem. Without being too specific or spoiling anything, I think they didn't respect the audience. I think they didn't respect the characters involved. I don't think they respected their own story. And I think what they did because they thought they thought it would be setting up strong emotional motivations, and just to make things not so obvious, because people might be making certain assumptions, there are Last of Us 1 characters that make reappearances. Don't make any assumption. Because of the Last of Us 1 characters and also new characters involved that they throw at us like right away, do not assume who I'm talking about. It could be someone else. So just keep an open mind. It might not be who you're assuming or what you're assuming. Don't make assumptions. Keep your mind open. Anyways, it's just, I really don't want to spoil this. So it's just, yeah, don't make assumptions based on what I'm saying. Keep your mind open. There's other characters that make things less obvious than people might assume. Anyways, so, and also certain ways they go about it. So it's like, I can't, I'm actually really excited to do the extra flange on this. Cause yeah, I can't talk about this stuff specifically enough for it to really maybe make sense, but, so we'll flange this up anyways. So trying to be vague and non-specific. So they go about something that I was expecting. It didn't surprise me that it happened. I was fully expecting it, and I can't say why, otherwise it would indirectly spoil it, but I was fully expecting what happened to happen, just not how it happened. And that's the thing. It's not what happened, it's how they went about doing it. And I think they rushed it. I think they were short-sighted. Kind of a redundant point, but they should have taken their time. I think they could have added a good 2 or 3 more hours to the story in the early part and really done this really well and made it make a lot more sense to the audience. But they rushed it, and another factor is they didn't give us enough time to get to know the characters again. And not just Ellie and Joel. There's other Last of Us 1 characters that do make a return. I can't say anything more than that. And there's also new characters. And I can't say more than that. But there's reasons why, very strong reasons why they needed to take more time to help us get to know these characters before setting up these motivations. Especially when it's characters we knew previously, but they've changed and grown a lot like real people do, and we haven't been given enough of a chance to really get to know them again, because they're not the characters we met in the first game anymore. The significant amount of time has passed, and people change, people grow, people evolve, and that's clearly happened. And it's mostly demonstrated by the very strong character interactions, dialogue and voice acting with character interactions, animations also. The Last of Us 2, or sorry, The Last of Us just as a whole is a very character-driven storytelling flange. It's almost completely driven by character interaction and characterization. It's not a plot-driven story, and part of the problem, I think, is they strayed from being so character-driven and moved to like an instance of plot driven, and then that just kind of fucks with your head when you're like character driven, wait, what? Not congruent. And then it goes back to character driven, so you've got this like one spot of like not character driven storytelling in something that's otherwise been all character driven. And people that don't want to be writers and aren't into understanding storytelling to that level just wouldn't be able to identify that and point that out and be like, oh, they just suddenly swapped from character driven to plot driven and then back to character driven, and it just kind of fucks with your head a little bit. And yeah, I can't really say too much more. It's frustrating for me. I can't really say too much more unless I actually start spoiling shit, so I should probably just wrap this up really. But kind of one of the points I do want to end on is like this is a character driven piece of fiction, and yeah, they just didn't flange that properly. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to call it here, and anything further will be in the extra flange. It's getting to a point where I'm gonna have to say things that are spoilery to really fully say what I'm saying. So at the end screen, that won't be for a bit. But yeah, for the end screen thing, I'll do my best to make sure it links directly to the extra flange video. I'll try and have them, I'll like drop the links for them at the same time, but I'll let YouTube make it public whenever they're ready. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that, and just a little hint, if you subscribe and hit that notifications, that should be over there somewhere. I think it might be more over on that side if you're on a phone or something. But yeah, if you hit subscribe and notifications, then you'll know right away when that new content's ready. Hint, hint. Anyways, being silly aside, I guess I should go through the ending spiel. If you liked my content, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. But if you didn't like it, do me a quick little favor and just give me some specific and respectful critical feedback so I know what I can do to improve in the future. And please be specific. It's just, I found it hard to take action on non-specific criticism and advice. Like, something that occurred as someone mentioned, said as too negative, as like, okay, but I'm not sure what to do with that without something more specific. Like, how was I too negative? Where was I too negative? Why do you think I was too negative? So, if your thought is, oh, I was too negative, just try and be more specific, and that would help a lot to just understand what I need to do to improve. And, I'm new, I'm still figuring this out. So all feedback and advice is much appreciated. And, I'd say normally I'd also throw in a like, what do you think? Let me know in the comments and throw some questions out there, but it's a little bit weird with this no spoiler and then a spoiler one. The real kind of discussion flanging will really should be happening in the extra flange. But, if you have spoiler free thoughts, please post them in the comments. Anything in the comments of the spoiler free video, anything that is a spoiler comment will be deleted without question. If the video is going to be spoiler free, I'm going to keep my comments as spoiler free. That just makes but yeah, let me know what you think about the controversy, the petition, not about the specifics of the story, but just the controversy and the petition and the kind of two extremes we got going on. Let me know what you think about that. Do you have any thoughts or anything to add? Please flange that up in the comments or on Twitter or during the live stream, which now that I mentioned that, the live stream are now Monday to Friday, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Mountain time zone, Alberta, Colorado time zone. I figured just, it's better for me to be able to rest up on the weekends. And then also it seems like there's just people are too busy doing their own thing during the weekends. So it's just, in these early phases where viewership and numbers is really important to getting some momentum and footing flanged up. I need, at least for now, while things are in this early phase, I need to be more concerned about numbers, which is just not normal for me. I try not to be hung up on numbers, but the way the affiliate and all that works, kind of have to be. So yeah, anyways, just explaining why the schedule's changed and all that stuff. So yeah, new schedules Monday to Friday, 5:30 to 8:30. Super simple, super remember. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys tonight. We will be streaming Monday. So yes, we're going to be starting Alien Isolation. That's a lot of fun. I'm quite excited for that one. I've been wanting to play Alien Isolation for a long time. And yeah, it's supposed to be very good and very interesting. Like not just from like a playing the game perspective, but from like a game design perspective, it's got some cool things. So that'll be super fun and interesting. I think that about covers it. Make sure to keep an eye out for that extra flange. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I always forget something. So I almost forgetting the most important thing to not forget. Patrons and GoFundMe donors. Oh my god. Ooh. So as always, a special thanks to the Patreon supporters and a super special extra thanks to the Valve Index GoFundMe donors. The Valve also with the patrons, they contributed too for any Patreon funds would have gone, or would have bad phrasing, any Patreon funds within the time period that makes sense to go towards the Valve Index have gone towards the Valve Index. So yeah, basically all the names you're seeing there, they have contributed to the Valve Index and making me a VR streamer. Can't thank you guys enough. Fucking amazing. Like literally just with the way things lined up by chance, without your donations, it would not have happened. So yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. This is so amazing that I'm able to do VR content and finally experience VR and all that good stuff. And on that note, VR streaming is every Tuesday and Thursday. Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays are flat screen regular game. And yeah, I can't say thanks enough to everyone that donated and supported to help make the GoFundMe possible, and just supporting Intoxicus flanging, especially in these early stages while I'm still figuring things out, I'm still kind of figuring out how I want to go. The puppets! Oh my god, I forgot! See, I'm still figuring shit out. So at EB Games yesterday, guess what I found? Fucking Link and Zelda puppets, but it's fucked up. Why is Zelda half the price of Link? Literally, Zelda is half the price of Link. Anyways, so I'm still figuring out how and what exactly I want to do with, I think I'm going to go Lonk and Zelda with an A, just to be like, oh, that's to avoid copyright issues. So I think we'll have Lonk and Zelda with an A, I think is what we'll do. Just so there's no Nintendo, try and make it so Nintendo can't get too hard on me. So I gotta think how we're going to integrate them into the content and all that, but yeah, this should be fun. Anyways, your go if you donate to the Patreon, it helps with stuff like this. I'm kind of half joking. It more helps with stuff like equipment, and, you know, keeping the power on and stuff. But it does help, with like awesome shit like that. Anyways, enough being silly. Have a good one. Remember to bring a towel, and thanks as always for watching and supporting. One of these days, I'll get this outro music done smoothly.